I've been a career counselor for over 30 years. I work with people on the questions of where am I going with my life. And it's been so interesting to me since I've become a Christian to reframe the question to myself that people are really asking. Because I've come to understand that they're asking not just about their work, but about their lives. What is the definition of a meaningful life? Why is it that my bank account is full and my heart is empty? As I listen to people talk about not enough in their work, even if they're very successful, I realize they're asking really about the God-shaped void in them. How do I fill the hole in myself? And often they don't know what the real question is. They think it's about finding one more activity or finding a different career. And sometimes it is, of course, but very often it's about finding the meaning of life. I was so grateful that God had saved me and forgiven me. And I was so captured by the thought that there was something I could do. And I remember going home from the home group meeting and saying to God, give me an assignment. Give me something to do. I'll take any assignment. And the next day I was in my office and I went out to the waiting room and there was a man standing there I didn't know, who said, please come downstairs with me to my car. My wife is in the car and she's dying as an alcoholic and she won't talk with anyone and we've tried everything and she talked to you 15 years ago and she says she'll only talk to you. And so I went down the stairs with him and he started to open the car door and he said, she won't let anyone touch her, don't touch her. So I put my hands in my pockets and I leaned over the car and he opened the door and when she saw me, she just reached out for me and dragged me in the car. And I realized that I was to play some role in her life. And she died about 4 months later. But during that 4 months, she went from shaking her fist at God to going to church and finally to praying for herself. And I realized that I needed to play a role in her life. He has works that he's planned for me to do. But he also gave me free will, and I can block that path of the things he planned. And so the first thing I have to do is to open my heart and say, God, use me. The most important thing in my life is to thank God and pass the word. To be wherever he wants me to be, to do whatever he wants me to do. And I notice a lot of times my assignments are to go tell people about him, help them come to him. And I also am just as happy if my assignment is to wash the dishes or to drive someone somewhere or to sit with someone who's ill. That I'm starting to understand that God wants me to do a whole lot of things, and every one of them feels like a privilege. Coming in touch with God's purpose for me to do good works makes my life very complicated. It takes time. And there are a lot of things that used to be important that have disappeared. I don't have time for them anymore. And I don't miss them because being used by God is so thrilling. It's so satisfying. And it isn't that he crowds my schedule to the space that I can't rest or play. It is that he understands the pace at which I can operate rather than the pace at which I would choose to operate. So my life is busier and more interesting. It feels like life as I always wished it could be.